Welcome to the Low Carb Athlete Podcast, where we focus on discussing topics to help you burn fat, optimize health, and improve performance in life and sports. Transform the whole you from the inside out with the holistic method. Let's dive in. Here's your host, Debbie Potts.
Debbie Potts, and I'm doing a podcast today to talk about how to build your health from the inside out. And you know already my story of chronic stress, and hopefully you've read my book, Life is Not a Race, It is a Journey, that I wrote in 2015, suddenly 5 years ago, as I started my health issues in 2013, living life as a race, competing in endurance events every month and running my own business and just chronic stress. My life was stressful. I had financial stress running my own business. I was busy fitting 20 hours of training at a highly competitive age group athlete for Ironman. I would do 50K races and marathons and half marathons in my off season from Ironman Triathlon World Championship and blah, blah, blah. So I did all that. And my mission right now with the coronavirus is really to educate athletes of all levels that we can be fit, strong, and healthy, but if you're living life as a race and you have chronic stress, you are dampening or turning down your immune system. We are decreasing our army of think of it, your innate intelligence that their body has, a built-in self-defense team. But if we have too much stress in the outside world, the way we live, what we do, what we eat, what we breathe, environmental toxins, the whole list. But there's also these hidden internal stressors that contribute to our sources of chronic stress. And that's what I keep talking about, not to sell you anything, but just to explain why we need to do functional lab testing to identify these hidden internal stressors that are a result of our crazy lifestyles and our busyness and, just doing too much in life, overtraining. Maybe you're eating a lot of carbohydrates, inflammatory foods, but maybe you're not. Maybe you don't sleep enough. Maybe you are just too busy during the day and you're always in that sympathetic nervous system. All of that contributes to overfilling your beaker of stress, and we overload the stress response system, the HPA axis, and that leads to dysfunction, and that leads to imbalances in all the body systems, this whole domino effect. And I've been writing a lot each day as we work at home, and I've been podcasting a lot with other guests, and it's just interesting when you really read social media and you listen to the news, which I don't like listening to our local news or United States news coverage. I like listening to BBC and really limiting how much you can take in each day of the news stories, because it is overwhelming and it's stressful and there's arguments everywhere. Everyone has different opinion. Everyone is trying to outdo somebody else on the news, and the presidential stuff is just a stress. So you have to watch what triggers your stress response system and know about your ability to deal with stress and what's your tolerance. And for me, I've really learned about myself in the past 8 years on my new journey to rebuild my health from the inside out. And part of that is being organized, having a structure to my day, spreading things out. Also, not watching news before bed and not reading social media too often. And what I feel like I need to do, what my purpose is, educate us to help you that listen, to help pay it forward to others that don't listen and read about nutritional therapy, functional medicine, self-care. And realize there isn't really a magic pill for anything. It's working on taking responsibility for our own bodies, our own health. And I like to think analogy of our health and taking ownership of our health is similar to the ownership of a car. And with the car that you own, you take it in to get tune-ups. You get oil change. You take your car in when there's a red light on the dashboard. You get the tires replaced. You get it back in alignment. All of these different things that we do for our car, I just wish we would do for our own health, our own self. So it's self-care with what I call the holistic method, where we work on the whole you from the inside out with those 8 elements I always talk about. But we can't depend on waiting for a shot or vaccine or some prescription medication to solve our health issues. It takes work, and it takes time, and it takes motivation, and it does cost money. But it's what we should be doing right now, investing in your health. Your health is your wealth. And you as an individual know this, but what can you do to help your community, your family, your friends, your coworkers understand the importance of, eating real foods, getting the right type of exercise, not overtraining right now, not doing excessive exercise every day back to back, and doing more strength training, lifting heavy things, doing some interval training once or twice a week. Or maybe you're already stressed out. That's not appropriate. You should just be doing some walking, breakfast, lunch, dinner. It's outdoors. Get outside and walk. And really prioritizing sleep. I think a lot of people are staying up too late and not getting up and not having a routine. So really finding a routine, a structure to your day is really important to our health. Sleep is when your body recovers and repairs, and I always think of it as your internal housekeeping comes and gives, your cleaning service to your body, our detoxification system. So our liver needs to be in good condition because it has to detoxify all these toxins, environmental toxins and parasites and things we need, everything strong to avoid getting sick. And we have to have that first line of defense really strong. So we need the body to be working at optimal level. And so sleeping is a really important part of that process, and let our sleep hygiene routine be consistent. Getting off the computers, the blue light, wearing your blue blocker glasses at night if you're online, not being on social media late at night, and not reading negative news, and perhaps, getting some essential oils in a diffuser, some lavender or something soft, relaxing, and using, dimmer lights, and creating that routine that you read in bed. Get a book out and write in your gratitude journal. I've been writing 3 things that I'm grateful for each day, and then I set my intentions for the following day. What do I want to see happen? So all of this really helps my immune system, because when we are stressed, our immune system is depressed. And I put a blog out, and I've been trying to write, every couple days, get an article out, but I'm working on this, now 5-part article on the immune system and really defining how it works. But when stress is on, the immune system's down. So part of the holistic method is identifying your sources of external stress and your internal hidden stressors that we have to identify and investigate into with functional lab testing, as we do as FDN practitioners. We need to manage our stress, our reactions to things. What we can do is breathing exercises, meditation. I've been doing yoga every day in the morning. Every other day I do vinyasa flow yoga. I really enjoy Travis Elliott that I've been posting the video links that I've been doing on YouTube on my Facebook page, The Low Carb Athlete. So you can check on my favorite videos there when I do them. Helps me be accountable to you. And then at nighttime every other day, we've been doing a 30-minute yin yoga where it's really beneficial. I've been setting these videos to my clients to do to help de-stress, help be still and quiet and stop doing and be in the moment, just sitting and holding, stretching a yoga pose for 90 seconds to 3 minutes. So that really helps your stress and help improve that heart rate variability, build up that resiliency, and your parasympathetic nervous system spend more time in that other side, opposite of sympathetic nervous system, fight or flight versus rest and digest. So anyways, I digress, but the holistic method really helps you decrease those stressors. So we've got stress, it just says. The next one's movement. As I said, walking, moving throughout the day, really important right now to get outside. And I don't understand how people don't go outside. Even if you go stand in your driveway or in your backyard, but wake up, work out, and go for a walk outside. Then you shower, you get dressed up, put your makeup on if you want, put some jewelry on if you're a female. Get ready for the day. I don't care if you're not going anywhere, but take care of yourself and not be in sweats every day and not, you can, but I think I feel better getting ready in the morning. I don't really do my hair. I put in a ponytail, but I think there's some benefit to, finding happiness and joy, feeling better when you get out of wearing your just t-shirt and shorts or sweats every day. I think that's my own thing, so I shouldn't suggest that, but for me, it really helps me. And going outside in the morning and then going to work, not just waking up and not going outside at all and start your work day when you're working at home is not healthy. I don't think it's good for your sanity, but also not getting fresh air, relaxing, getting outside, you hear the birds chirping. It's just a magical way to start your day. So movement, mobility is the other element. Then, of course, digestion and gut health we'll talk lots about. And then hydration is really essential, drinking more water throughout the day when you're at home. I know a lot of people say they're used to carrying a water bottle when they're in their car and at their workout, and you really have to make more of an effort, at least I do right now, to drink more water. And I just refill my bottles, put some sea salt in it, and put them in the fridge so I can grab them and make sure I drink, which I should be having a bottle right now and I don't. So that's an essential part. And then the last one is, as I mentioned, happiness, play, laughter, gratitude, and writing in that journal. So I really want to just make sure we are out there helping educate others to make health a priority. Because I know most of my friends on social media, they're already taking care of themselves. Maybe you don't know if you're healthy on the inside. As I say, are you healthy under the hood? Getting your car inspected, we should be doing that twice a year with our own bodies. And it's really, I feel strongly about that we should be doing lab testing. As I just retested, and I had no clue that my symptoms were connected to this H. pylori that's been embedded in the gut wall lining or my stomach organ. And then I have overabundance of E. coli in my small intestine. So that's contributing to chronic inflammation in my gut. And what does that mean? Depressed immune system. What does that mean? You're going to have damaged gut wall lining. So that's going to lead to not getting my nutrients absorbed. So even if I'm eating good food, if I don't have the right stomach acidity, well, back up, I'm going to have more chance to get parasites, viruses, bugs getting through that barrier of my stomach organ. So that's an issue. But also I'm not able to digest my protein and get the amino acids and that are involved in many body systems processes. So I'm not able to digest properly if you don't have the right stomach acidity. So it's just all connected north to south. And when you have chronic stress from that, maybe starts with financial stress right now, or just stress of, being obsessed with coronavirus updates every day and just the headache of all these different opinions and battle between people in politics, it's frustrating. And I think that by itself can contribute to being stressed all the time. So that becomes chronic. And that can lead to an internal breakdown, causing additional internal hidden stressors, as happened to me. So chronic stress is something I always have to work on. And I always have to adjust my schedule. And I know my triggers, and I know about myself a lot more than I did in the past. And what happens is this metabolic chaos that we've talked about, and how if chronic stress is left unmanaged, it leads to that whole list of metabolic chaos of symptoms, and you're not really putting the pieces of the puzzle together. As I said, I didn't know really why I've been feeling crappy when I go running, why I can't lose weight, why do I feel, even if I'm eating less and I'm doing more protein and fat that's right from my metabolic typing profile, and for my blood type O, I'm supposed to have more protein. I've always been told that, and so I'm doing that, but I'm going to have problems because I don't have the ability to digest protein because of my H. pylori and because of lack of stomach acidity and digestive enzymes. And if I have damage to my gut from stressors, I'm going to have damaged mucosal barrier in my gut wall lining, which is connected to lowering my immune system, secretory IgA. And the more damage we have in mucosal barrier, you're more prone to gut wall lining damage, so we have leaky gut. And so all this is connected, low thyroid, low hormones, and I had high cortisol for so many years, HPA axis dysfunction, but now they're all really low, and so the list goes on. But the point is, stress is on, immune system's down. And if you're not focusing on stress reduction exercises now and adding supplementation to improve your immune system, I think it's really important part. Listen to my podcasts and videos with Karan from Microbiome Labs, and you can look up their total gut restoration program in the show notes and my blogs, that it's really important to repair, rebuild, and restore our gut health. But there's no point of rebuilding your gut health if you haven't identified the chronic stressors. For myself, example, H. pylori. If I didn't run the lab test to identify pathogens hiding in my gut that were unknown to me, that are hidden, if I started to do a 90-day protocol to rebuild my gut, as for example with Microbiome Labs, or biotics, or biobotanical, different ones that I like to use with clients, I'm not going to get results that are long lasting because I still haven't eradicated this constant stressor as H. pylori or blastohominus that some people get, or crypto, all these different bugs, pathogens that are hiding in your gut. You don't know that they're connected to all these other dysfunctions, imbalances, and we get this loss of homeostasis. And then we're more in the sympathetic nervous system. Even if you're doing all the lifestyle habits as myself, I still have issues because I have these internal stressors I can't get rid of unless I do a specific lab test, combination of tests, and created a 90-day protocol to help eliminate and destroy those bugs. And I have to have biofilm busters and a GI detox binder to get these a binder to get the toxins out, so kind of escort them out through the bile, kidneys, sauna, sweating and exercising. But there's a protocol, and it's individualized, and that's what we do with FDN practitioners, and combine that with nutritional therapy practitioners. I think it really is beneficial. So chronic stress, I found some great articles. And I'm, as I said, writing, I have, 21 pages so far on immune system and definitions. But it's really important to look at your Dutch complete test, for example, to look at your stress hormones like cortisol, your DHEA, testosterone, but epinephrine, norepinephrine. These different stress hormones can signal opportunistic bacteria in your gut, and they will multiply and release toxins that are going to be correlated to chronic illness. And when these opportunistic pathogens there are bacteria, bad bacteria, if they're present at low levels in your gut, they don't cause any real harm. That's because your body, when it's healthy and you have good resiliency, these opportunistic pathogens are just kind of there, and they're not causing chaos in your body until you have chronic stress and you kind of woke them up, basically. So they might be there. Like for mine were there. I had my lab starting in 2013, 14, 15, 2015. I had some different pathogens and I was fine. But I think last year, closing my fitness studio, I was very stressed out. I was the last few months, or actually the whole year, knowing that I was closing my business and I had to deal with it and tell my clients and trainers that rented space. I mean, it was stressful. Plus, I was trying to decide to, relocate or to close and do something else. And, all worked out great because now I don't own a studio and I'm not completely putting myself in financial hell because of this $8,000 rent I had to pay every month. That was a chronic stress for me. And trying to build a business when there's so much competition is extremely stressful. So anyways, pathogens are going to kind of outnumber your good guys. And so your self-defense system is weak. It's like, I always think of an army, or Dr. Bruce and the sleep doctor was talking about his football team, and your quarterback and the defense, the linemen. If everyone's not doing what they're supposed to do, if they're all sick and weak, that football game is not going to be very successful, right? They're not going to come out strong and fight off the defense or the opponent. So when our resistance is low, we are more vulnerable. And my friend Jody Cohen from Vibrant Blue Oils wrote a great article on this. I'll put in the show notes. But I like what she said. She explained it as I would, that they detect your resistance in low and you're more vulnerable. They sense opportunity. More specifically, the presence of stress hormones like cortisol, epinephrine, norepinephrine signal these opportunistic pathogens that your immune system is compromised, which then triggers growth of more virulent bacteria in your microbiome. They multiply quickly and release toxins which can make you sick, as I said. So these high levels of stress that we have externally and internally, and that includes exercising too much, overtraining, under recovery, financial stress, environmental toxins, not eating foods that are clean and organic, they're going to have toxins. If you're not eating grass-fed meat, you're getting some toxins. That will suppress your immune system, and that can deplete the balance of the beneficial bacteria in your gut microbiome that we all learn about from Quran of microbiome labs. So this keeps those opportunistic pathogens in check. So these different viruses, pathogens, bad bacteria, they can lie dormant for years or even decades until they get awoken from high levels of stress and take advantage that you're susceptible because of all these stress hormones. Remember, stress is on, immune system's down. So now we lose control of controlling our stress, and we don't have that balance in our microbiome. And that gut flora is lost to help prevent these pathogens from dampening or damaging your health. So a good article that I found that Jody had is stress is known to suppress immune function and increases our susceptibility to infections and cancer. Stress is also known to exacerbate asthma and allergic, autoimmune, and inflammatory diseases. Although such diseases should be controlled by immune suppression. Moreover, short-term fight or flight stress response is one of nature's fundamental defense mechanisms that enables cardiovascular and the musculoskeletal systems to promote survival. And it's unlikely that this response would suppress immune function at a time when it's more required for survival. But what happens if it's a nonstop stress? So that's when it becomes chronic, and that stress may suppress the immune system under conditions while enhancing it under others. So the article, it's on PubMed article. I'll put the links in the show notes, and I'll write more in my blog post on debbiepotts.net. But the effects of stress are likely to be beneficial or harmful depending on the type. As we've learned that anything too much can cause dysfunction, as well as anything too little creates deficiencies. So we want to enhance our immune system and not suppress it. And that's the importance of stress hormones, that Goldilocks effect. Acute stress is good, but not long-term, chronic, ongoing stress. That is a damaging type of stress. So using our infrared sauna, doing HIIT training, doing workouts that aren't too long and not too frequently overtraining. So the chronic stress is what's going to activate the immune system. So chronic or long-term stress, they found in this article, can suppress immunity by decreasing immune cell numbers and function, and or increasing active immunosuppressive mechanisms as your regulatory T cells. Chronic stress can dysregulate immune function by promoting pro-inflammatory and type 2 cytokine-driven responses. So you can get all into the research part of it, and my 3-5-part blog posts I've been working on is helping you understand the definitions. I just kind of looked up words on Wikipedia while I was typing it and put the definition of it beside the notes, the bullet points. But it's really these coping mechanisms as our lifestyle habits had to build that resiliency. So really, having optimism, social support, hugging your family members in your own household, working on humming and singing and, chanting in yoga. We've been doing our 3 ohms in our yoga class that we're doing at home, and really working on that vagal tone to help our body. We want to strengthen our parasympathetic nervous system because it's so easy to get overabundance of sympathetic nervous system activation. So acute stress is good. It's not all stress is bad, but it's that chronic stress we need to pay attention to. So I'll put the links in the notes. There's got Nutritional Therapy had a great module that we did in my program. I want to dive into more in a few different podcast episodes that I'm writing about, that we have 3 main forms of defense. And our immune system's supposed to be kind of in training all the time to build resistance and not let us be susceptible to these diseases that are coming around us all the time, as the flu and different diseases. Now it's coronavirus. But our mechanical barriers are part of our non-specific resistance, your barrier. So, you have the skin, the mucous membrane that lines your body cavities, like internally of your small intestinal wall and large intestines. And then we have areas open to the exterior as your mouth and your nose. And then you have mucus, saliva, tears, and different mechanical barriers that you can look at, but also chemical barriers, your skin, the oil glands, acidic environment, perspiration. We have the gastric juices in your stomach, and the hydrochloric acids need to be a pH of 0.8 to 3. So it needs to be very acidic to wash and kill off those pathogens when they get into the stomach organ, if you're at optimal levels. And that's why I have clients that don't have H. pylori take HCl betaine and digestive enzymes and some bile support to help the digestive processes. Also, chemical barriers, lysozyme. It's an enzyme found in perspiration, tears, saliva. and other tissues that can break down the cell walls of various bacteria. And then we have the ability, as it said, the expulsion of invaders is basically, diarrhea and coughing, sneezing, peeing, pooping, tears, saliva, and other discharge substances in your body areas. So the second type of immune system we have, or self-defense, is that non-specific innate immunity. And this is when our white blood cells and other biochemical substances, I think of it as members of the army, they're armed and ready to attack rapidly as needed. They're kind of your surveillance team, always checking things out to make sure everything's good. So that's our non-specific or innate immunity you'll hear people talking about right now. The third one is a specific immunity, or we say adaptive or acquired immunity. And this is where our white blood cells attach to specific invaders that escaped our first line of defense barriers. So these guys, if we go back to that first one, I said non-specific resistance or barriers that are designed to stop the entrance of invaders, is your skin, you got the mechanical barriers and the chemical barriers, chemical, mechanical, and expulsion of invaders. So we've got these different ones. Now, if the bad guys got through, like H. pylori or crypto hominis, blastohominis, one of those pathogens, then we have this adaptive or acquired immunity. Or if you had food that was maldigested and got out into the bloodstream, then we get tagged as food allergens, and we build a adaptive or acquired immunity response to that food that you become allergic to, and then we can talk about what food sensitivities are. So there's different invaders that obviously would create havoc on your internal body systems and contribute to what we say in FDN, kind of jump it all together as metabolic chaos. So these hidden internal stressors can be a result of a weak host. So chronic stress, living a life as a race, your immune system is depressed, your gut is not as strong and resilient, so you become a weak host. So these bad guys get past the first line of defense, and then we let their friends and family move in. Then we have this imbalance of the good guys to the bad guys, and bad guys take over and create disruption in your body. And that's going to lead to inflammation in your body and all sorts of different chronic illnesses. So the pathogens that contribute to these internal hidden chronic stressors include bacteria, viruses, parasites, fungus, and yeast. So what happens when these unwanted microbes get past our first line of defense, and then our body recognizes them as a foreigner? Now, we have our innate response and our adaptive, or what we said, adaptive or acquired response to these foreigners. But if our team is not ready to respond and they were sleeping on the job or they were too weak to fight, these bad guys got through the security gates, and then they charged through and got inside and causes disruption, loss of balance, and we have problems, right? So that's my interpretation. In nutritional therapy training program, we learned that the immune system is kind of visualizing this map, this army map, and the internal training that we have. I think of it as a castle, your GI tract. And what happens when these invaders get past the army surrounding that castle and protecting, like think Game of Thrones, and protecting that city that, obviously only watched last few seasons of Game of Thrones, but think of it as protecting an empire. And if the exterior defense guys got killed off, and then bad guys get in and then they take over. Actually, that's a good analogy. Think Game of Thrones with your immune system. So it's very complex, but if you look at this map, I don't think I'm allowed to share this picture we have. It's just kind of what you picture when they were going to attack the other, cities in Game of Thrones, the other empires. They had a map and they would figure out where to attack. And so the immune system kind of is similar to that we've got all these different people in the first line of defense, and you think of it, the Army and the Navy SEALs and the Air Force, all these different people are ready to go, and they have to be in training. They have to be in training and ready to take action when they're called upon, right? So our Navy SEALs guys might not be out in the field, but they're always training and ready to go when they get that phone call saying, we need you now. So our first line of defense, the Army, the soldiers called white blood cells, include the leukocytes. I have this problem of reading things all the time and never speaking out loud, so it's probably why I say words wrong all the time. White blood cells that work with your immune system, defend against infectious diseases. Any damage to your kidneys, uterus, bladder can cause the leukocytes to appear. And we've got the phagocytes, a type of cell within the body that's capable of engulfing and absorbing bacteria and other small cells and particles. Then we have the granulites, they're macrophages. They're a type of white blood cell that has small granules with proteins, and the neutrophils that help fight the bacterial infection. So we have neutrophils are what we have the most of. It's 60 to 70% of our white blood cells are neutrophils, and they attack the bad bacteria and other pathogens. And then we have the eosinophils. Those are only 2 to 4% of our white blood cells, and they control the mechanisms associated with allergies. And then we've got the basophils that, I'll highlight that are related with histamine, and those are more rare. They're only 1.5 to 1% of our white blood cells. So we have these different types of white blood cells. And then we've got the monocytes, which are large phagocytic white blood cells. I think of these guys as Pac-Man, the macrophages. They eat. I always think Pac-Man game, they're going to go chomp up. So they're moving around. They're found in stationary form in the tissues or mobile white blood cells, especially at infection sites. So they go in and chop up and eat things. And then we have the dendrites that are the tips of the neuron that sends information to other nerve cells as a part of the entire nervous system. So then my question is, all right, how does inflammation relate to the immune system? So we'll dive into that next time, but I think it's all related, right? It's like, why do these things happen? So it's good to kind of look at the whole picture, how our immune system works. But I want us to understand how chronic stress impacts the immune system, how sympathetic nervous system fight or flight's connected and turns everything else down, depresses or dampens, and how our parasympathetic rest and digest gets less attention. So we need everything in our bodies in balance, yin and yang, the Goldilocks effect, just homeostasis is that optimal amount. So we need our body systems at a cellular level to be running at the optimal level. So we need to take care of ourselves with these lifestyle habits we've talked about in the holistic method, but also, as we say in FDN, as practitioners, a dress for health success protocol. We create a 90-day protocol for clients using diet is D, rest, exercise, stress reduction, and supplementation. And we can't out-supplement poor lifestyle habits, poor eating habits, but we do need to support, to stimulate, and help the body where what's missing with the right type of supplements. But then you also don't want to do what I did for years, is just take this, take that, and get stuck in the cycle of trial and error based on listening to this podcast, reading this blog, seeing this advertisement on social media. Then you end up buying tons of stuff that you don't really need, and that you as an individual need specific supplementation. But to figure that out, we need to run functional lab tests and clinically correlate those lab results, not just one, but 3 or more, 3 to 5 functional lab tests with your main health complaints and areas of opportunity, your nutritional therapy assessment. Then figure out, what does your body need to help it repair and restore, bring it back to optimal level, homeostasis. So that's what I'm doing. This is what I'm trying to write about each day and research about the immune system, inflammation, your first line of defense, and how chronic stress impacts all that and just destroys our immune system. I don't think enough people are talking about this. The media is just going to tell you about staying at home, washing your hands, staying 6 feet apart, staying home, stay away from people. But that's not long term. It's not realistic. When we are allowed, in a few weeks as I record this, in May in Seattle, we're going to be allowed to go get your hair cut, maybe go to your gym, but we need to keep that 6-foot distance, and we need to wear gloves and a face mask, wash your hands 20 seconds or more, do all this. But we need to take ownership for our health as we do with our car. That includes building your health from the inside out, looking under the hood. Really, I feel strongly, not anything to do with me getting you as a health client. You can work with anybody, but I didn't know what was going on unless I did lab tests to find out what were my chronic stressors that are inside that just are not letting me heal and rebuild the way I want to. So if you're struggling with fatigue, fat loss, psoriasis, joint pain, inflammation, digestion issues, the list goes on. But it could be just a few things you need to do differently. But we don't know what we don't know, so we need to run the labs. I just am fearful of our future in our country and our world when people start going back to regular life, not having to feel like we're going to have to wear gloves and a face mask forever and stay away from people, not touch anything, and not being able to hug each other. But what we can do is just take ownership and know that your ability to fight the coronavirus, you're building that full army. You're building your first line of defense, your backup team, and your third string. Everybody is ready to go when you are going to be faced with the coronavirus. It's not just going to magically disappear. The vaccine isn't going to cure it. We don't know for sure if once you get the virus, if you can get it again. There's so much unknown. But what we do know is that 80% of your immune system is in your gut. And gut dysfunction comes from what we eat, environmental toxins, stress, chronic stress, and letting pathogens and viruses get through those first barriers. So that's my pet peeve. That's my passion. That's my purpose right now, to help get this message out. If you can help me, share this info. I'll put many links, my blogs, debbiepotts.net. I've been interviewing experts. I've been putting them on YouTube channel because I have enough podcasts with guests on my Monday show for the next 6 months. So I'm backed up on the Monday episodes. So I would go to YouTube and learn more. So that's it, you guys. I hope you can do something for yourself. I know you all eat well. Maybe you need to adjust your exercise schedule, maybe add some yoga, drink more water, not drink alcohol a lot right now. And that's going to increase your cortisol, as well as too much coffee. And you want your liver healthy too and able to detoxify. You want to be peeing and pooping properly every day, and we want to be sweating, using infrared, getting exposure to daylight, getting vitamin D, vitamin C, and antioxidants, mitochondria support, digestive enzymes, HCl support, megasporbiotic, fish oils, the list goes on. So it's a big list of supplements some of us need to take, like stress adaptogens I have to take too. But, we need to rebuild and repair and restore the whole you, the whole me, from the inside out, and to improve our immune system, to build resiliency, because this virus isn't just going to go poof into thin air. So I think we should all be ready to get the coronavirus. If you get it, you're able to just fight it off, and it'll be no to little symptoms. That's my dream and hope. So thanks for listening today. And I'll try to do more of the education on immune system if you're interested. So just let me know what you want to learn more of, because I'm diving in deep every day here at the Potts house. So let me know. Email me, debbiepotts.net, or social media. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
Thanks for listening to the Low Carb Athlete Podcast. If you have any questions, feedback, or topic suggestions, let us know on Facebook or at debbiepotts.net. You can help us to continue to grow by leaving a review on iTunes. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.